Good afternoon. How is everyone? It's good, yes? Everybody's asleep? Too fatigué? No? I am. Thank you for having me here. Win, your seat is here. That's a toi, s'il vous plaît. Thank you, sir. I come from a medical background and sometimes computer background. Mostly strange, mostly weird. One thing I want to ask everyone, who has a computer network that has never been hacked? One, deux,
internally or externally?
trois, quatre, cinq. Okay, internal or external hack? Back in 2002, the Director of Information Assurance at the National Security Agency said, every computer network is vulnerable, and every computer is vulnerable. We treat every computer as it has been hacked when we get it. You need wine too? No? You good? Okay. I thought you fixed it, Oliver. Everyone's seen this, yes? Right? To the untrained eye, this is good. That means no work today. For us, look for this. I was digging around the other day, and I found this. It's linked to malware. So people will go back. They'll do what you told them to do. You get the blue screen of death. You reboot, right? Don't let them do it. There's a new virus in there now. And of course, you all have the power. Everyone here has the power to rip off anybody you want, pretty much. It's just too easy, yes? Anybody have any trouble if you wanted to? Just stealing something from someone? Not being moral, not being ethical? It's not so hard to break the rules. But me, I worked in the U.S. Army for 27 years. I worked in the U.S. government at the National Security Agency. I drank scotch, I drank wine, a lot of customer relations with private industry. We had to do tough things. I worked with parapsychological operations, remote viewing, things like that. Mostly fun. And we work very hard. I wrote a book, I like it. I write for a newspaper, newsl.org. I have a radio station, radio show. If you like this, you don't have to, it's okay. You can listen to me talk later. And because I said NSA, I have to say that the NSA said that if I say NSA, it doesn't mean NSA said that NSA said. I said that NSA didn't say. And therefore, it's okay. Right, good. So, real quick, going to cover the outline for the next, I was given 4 hours, I think. Claire? Right? 4 hours. Okay, good. This slide is about perspective. Anybody who's seen this before, I know a couple people have seen this before. Try to think about what this might be. And we'll talk about it in a minute. But this is a perspective slide. And why do I come do this? Because you have the answer. The governments of the world do not have the answers. Your creativity, your awareness, your knowledge is the answer. Anytime that the US government tells me that it's okay, I can have 9 rat hairs in my pasta, it's okay for them. I don't like rat hair. Maybe somebody else does. I don't like maggots in my food. This is how governments set standards. They think maybe it doesn't hurt so much. Don't settle for the answers that governments give. Be creative. Come up with answers yourselves. You're much more powerful than them. So you saw 2 slides ago, we went over what we were going to cover, right? 6,000 lines, and we'll get it done. Don't worry. Think of these things. Light. How is light structured? Light is something different. It's a wave, it's a particle at the same time. A photon, look at the perfection of a photon and think of how small the photon is compared to our location in the supercluster of Laniakea and how big that is. The red dot covers 26 times the Milky Way galaxy. Photon, you're here. The outline I showed you for perspective is War and Peace. War and Peace will fit on a slide. You've never seen War and Peace that way. We're going to talk about viewing things differently now. We're going to talk about humans-machine interfaces and how humans and machines are being put together. Disclaimer, please. Fairies, my 11-year-old daughter said, "Daddy, please put fairies in there too. They're different." Okay, we have fairies. The green line is where we were 2 years ago with people. Now we have people with machines connected to them, right? We have prosthetics, we have different types of implants, things like that, being used all the time. And we don't think of these things as anything different, but we don't look at where we're going, what we're going to end up as. One of the items I added up here is Gaia Sapiens, a human that is embedded with a machine that makes it part of the bigger machine that is part of the complete ecosystem of the world. If you can't see the progression now, take a step back, think differently about it. This is where we're going. And to show the point, 2045 project, they're pretty good. They're approved by the Dalai Lama himself. He says, this is a good deal. You're seeking eternal life. The first steps, Avatar A, happened in 2012 at MIT. They connected a human and a rat together. The first command made the human sit. Then the human figured out, up here only, not verbally, that the command needed to go from the human to the rat, not the other way. And then the human made the rat sit. The human made the rat walk around. The human made the rat defecate, and lay down, and a couple other things. Direct connection of brain activity has happened. There's keyboards, mouse, you can control with your mind alone. You don't want to maybe have a bad day at work, right? And be sending an email to your boss and not have control with your hands. Dear boss, you stink. I hate, oh, stop, send. Oh, bad. A lot is being said on mind control, how you can regulate your mind. Avatar B, human brain is transplanted. Right now, what are they doing? They're transplanting a whole human head. They did it last year in Russia because that's okay. It didn't work. The guy was old, 70 years old. He was terminally ill. But they tried it anyways because he said he'd try it. And they couldn't tell if he died from the transplant or from the illness. The point is that they're going forward, pushing towards eternal life. At the top, you can see hologram-like avatar with the essence of your brain. This means the electronic functions, the neurological functions, activities. Pardon me. Everything that you think, your creativity, your ability to solve problems. Just a few years ago, it was predicted that the internet would be running through you like electricity, yes? Some of you probably heard about this. You're not going to have a device anymore. It's going to be gone. Laptops are a thing of the past. You will be within the internet, and the internet will be within you. It will be controlled in and through you. How is it going to be done? By machines. All by machines. So, if I'm going to put something in you and I want to make sure that it works, I got to have some power. Got to have power. A battery was just created 2 months ago that lasts 70 years, and it's a micro-sized battery. And it gives enough power. Pardon me. It will make certain microsystems operate in your body for the lifetime of that instrument, a prosthetic finger. You can operate a prosthetic finger for 70 years. I need storage. A couple of years ago, scientists were able to put 700 terabytes of data into 1 gram of DNA. Don't tell me you have a storage problem if you have a body. You got a place to stick your data. You may not like it, but it'll work. This becomes an extreme problem. I'm going to show you why in just a little bit. Everybody knows how to air gap. This is not the JV. There are so many different techniques to air gap now. It's not hard. No monks were hurt when I made the slide. Okay? The monks are okay. And of course, you can steal ECC keys through air gapping. This is not a problem. We have all the components of everything we need to have an autonomous mechanical activity happening inside your body now. The key for this are nanorobotics. They do not have controls. This is what I work on. When people say it's the Wild West, nanorobotics is the Wild West. They're updated and controlled through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, because that's the best and most secure way to update anything, I think. These things are made, they are 10 to the negative 9th to 10 to the negative 6th in size. They are put into your body. If you've ever had an MRI or CT scan with contrast, you have had nanorobotics put in your body. Do you know if it left? The contrast that's used is gallium, element number 64. It's a heavy metal, it'll kill you if there's a lot of it. With nanorobotics, they're able to steer and manipulate the gallium to the specific location in the body where they need to take the picture. That's how it works. There are numerous types of nanorobotics that do specific things. The first one is called subnets, neurophysiological illnesses. It helps to identify different types of genetic illnesses, ADHD, bipolar disorder, manic depression, all these things. It can look for the markers inside of the cell, somewhere we've never been able to look before, something we've never been able to do. They will go inside the cell and validate the DNA. Restore active memories. This is my favorite. These are nanorobots that are put into the brain, and what they do is, see, they'll take a memory out of your brain. This goes back to the 2045 project where they're taking your memory and putting it somewhere else. They're doing this right now, and they're taking memories out of your brain in order to mitigate PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They take that bad memory out, see? And there was a little problem because When they take the bad memory out, you don't function so well because you don't have the connectivity between the neurons in the brain. So guess what they had to do? They put a different memory in. And that completes the circuit. I need a drink. So now you can experience things you've never experienced before. You can be an Icelandic football fan in Paris, and you've never liked Iceland before, but now you're their #1 fan, yes? May not be so good. I know in the States it would be a very bad thing if you're from Boston and you become a New York Yankees fan. People probably shoot you. But you're going to have things put in your brain you've never done before, and you're going to believe that you've been there, that you've done it. You've experienced it. You can smell it, you can taste it, because it's embedded in your brain now through the nanorobots. In vivo nanoplatforms, they're like enablers. They help to identify different physiological activities. If you have anatomical problems, they can tell, they can regulate, they can deliver medicine, and so on. The bottom one, though, is most important, biochronicity. This goes back to 2045. Biochronicity is the actual measuring of the life cycle of the cell internally from within the cell. Nanorobots are able to bypass the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain, map the brain completely. Remember about you being able to control your brain, thinking differently, controlling your own brain to be able to do things with the internet, with coding, without touching anything. You think it, it happens. All these things together build into that concept. Here is a nerve. Any questions? You'll be tested. Good. Here is a nanorobotic nerve. The battery we talk about is inside the center cell, the neuron itself, and it's recharged through the neurological process of sending and receiving messages. That's all it is. These go in, they connect from where central nervous system is broken from peripheral nervous system, and it creates a circuit. It also has memory. It has a lot of memory and no security. The second part of the issue is DNA manipulation. CRISPR-Cas9 is a new technique that manipulates, it can edit DNA. We were talking about storage of DNA before, how much information you could put on 1 gram of DNA. CRISPR-Cas9 allows you to increase that at least 4-fold. Not just 700 terabytes anymore. 2,800 terabytes can go into 1 gram of DNA using CRISPR-Cas9 to manipulate and edit the DNA. So when the industry found that this works so well, it can be done in 1 hour and 30 minutes. They said, stop. Everybody in the industry stopped, except, ooh, good guess, Russia. Not bad. China. China said, no way, we're going to have some fun with this. And they did. They took 86 embryos with beta thalassemia, which is a blood disease. It's an anemia. It can kill you if it is a very bad type. Most cases, it won't kill you. But they went in and they manipulated the genome of these 86. 2 lived. That's it. They should be born in about 3-4 weeks or so. We'll have to see what happened. We don't know. And then just this year, Chinese scientists said, well, we had such great success that we're going to attempt to make cells HIV resistant. We weren't given the answers to that. on how that turned out. So here's a nanobot on the top. If it looks like a piece of malware, you're looking at the same picture that I'm looking at, okay? It goes in, it needs Bob and Alice to open the keys and release the payload. It connects with a disease. The disease has the proper antigens, Bob and Alice, which opens the nanobot and releases the payload, which kills the disease. A virus in reverse. For now, remember, there's no other security controls on these things. None whatsoever. On the bottom on the right side, the same concept, and the payload here are gold flakes. Gold flakes, there's an enzyme on them, and they attach to a cell that is cancerous. They're hit with low-level RF, heats up the gold, destroys the cancer cell. It is only 100% effective. No one has come out of remission from this treatment. It's only 100%. So remember I showed you the slide, the US, the Food and Drug Administration, right? They let you have all they eat the rat hair and the larva. Wine is good, though. Wine is good. They'll let you all do all that. But they won't approve this, because this isn't safe yet. 100% effective against cancer, and you can't do it. Puts the drug industry out of business, I guess, right? No more chemotherapies. So if I was going to attack a network, would I do it like they did at Target? Would I waste my time? Would I waste my energy? Would I really want to use an HVAC control system? Would I want to use registers at Home Depot? That's too much work. What I'm going to use are my buddies. I like cockroaches. And I'm going to take cockroaches and I'm going to manipulate the DNA in the cockroaches. Excuse me. And these cockroaches will have happy new cockroaches with the same DNA manipulation, the same mutation as the ones that we manipulated that could hold 2,800 terabytes of data. Now I have a super storage capability. Anybody have 2,800 terabytes of data sitting in their laptop right now? I got a bunch of cockroaches. Each of them will hold 2,800. That's pretty cool, I think. And these guys, they're good. They'll listen. If I go into a facility, right, and I happen to drop some breadcrumbs at the end of the day, and I really want, do you mind?
Go ahead.
Merci. If I want them to go to a specific client or a server, what I'm going to do is I'll leave some breadcrumbs or some candy or something like that, and they'll hang around that computer for a very long time. They'll be there for a very long time. Now, air gap is not always the fastest way to move data, we know that. But if I leave enough breadcrumbs at all the computers and servers, my cockroaches will be busy for 8 hours. We took an unenhanced cockroach. That means that they could only have 700 terabytes of data, right? In 1 gram of DNA in their body. And we let her free inside of a facility overnight. And she came out at nearly 100% max capacity, full of data. We got her out because there's 4 species of cockroaches that respond to audio signals. The rest of them don't. The rest of them were just noise. They made problems. We had to kill them. We didn't want them. But if you think of it differently, I don't need to be concerned with a firewall, do I? I don't have any issues like that. I don't have an IPS or an IDS to look at, to worry about, to think about. I just send in my cockroaches, and I'll clean out all your data in one night. Think if you're a major storage facility. You could lose all your data in one night. If I sent in just, 3 dozen cockroaches, you could lose all your data. You could lose everything, your credibility. Everything would be gone. Now, the quick answer is salamanders and geckos eat cockroaches. Okay? So we can mitigate this very easily. So don't be too concerned about using cockroaches, but do be concerned about the person with the prosthetic. Because those nanorobots connect the prosthetic limbs. Prosthetics are updated how? Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, same as the others. All of these things together, right here, this is one major vulnerability. All over the world, because of wars and things like that going on, more people have prosthetics. And we always want to hire the veteran that has a prosthetic, feel good about that. That person could be a walking vulnerability. That person could unknowingly have manipulated DNA through all the surgeries that they had in some defense hospital or something like that. I spent my time in a defense hospital. It was fun. And I'm not sure that I didn't walk out with anything. Nobody is, because you just don't know. So, a prosthetic, hearing aid. Hearing aids can record, right? Ocular devices, cochlear implants. All these things have memory. And if they don't have memory, if you have a nanorobot embedded, it can transmit, because they're updated wirelessly, it can transmit from the device into storage into the DNA of a person. Every single person now, in a new way, is a vulnerability to your facility, to your data. All of these technologies that I've talked about so far, they're working today. They were put together. We did it in our lab. I don't know who else has done something like this. This stuff moves back and forth. This is scary stuff. You can't stop some of these things from happening. Not if you think the same. Not if you think like a government does. 3D printers. Inside of Nanorobotics, you could put a 3D printer. Did you know that? And you can print a 3D printer in a 3D printer, which means you can print another 3D printer inside that other 3D printer. Now you can replicate DNA, or you can make completely different DNA inside of a nanorobot in the payload bay section. Just something to think about. And because the internet has made everybody very smart, the internet has made everybody very stupid. People think that they can do anything they want to. When I was working with the FBI a number of years ago, we came across someone who had made a biological weapon, and it wasn't something that was left in the refrigerator too long. This was something that the person intentionally did, but didn't realize it would be dangerous. So says he. But all the instructions he received were from the internet. Now you can take a biological weapon, embed it into a nanorobot in the payload area, and move it from country to country. How much sarin does it take to kill someone? How much ricin does it take to kill someone? It doesn't take a whole hell of a lot. People are doing things that they don't even know what the answer is. This is the community we have, the Connect One community. Some people lose this game every day. Don't think like that. You have to be able to come up with the answers to keep these things from happening. Too many people around the world are making the same mistakes. They're pulling it. I read it on the internet. It has to be. Nobody knows. True? Yes? It has to be true. I read it there. I can do it. I can make it. I can do anything I want. I don't need a PhD from Oxford University to make something that will kill everybody. Don't need that anymore. You just go to the internet. And remember, government's not doing it. Government doesn't give you the answer right now. You have to come up industry standards to handle these things. Nanorobotics and anatomical size information systems controls don't exist. And we're already doing it. Technology always goes faster than security for the technology, and it is always vulnerable by the time we completely implement something. No one builds a system that is secure. Everybody tries to secure the system after the fact. We can't afford to secure a system after the fact. If I load ransomware on your pacemaker, what assurance do you have that I will take the Bitcoin and go away and leave you alone forever? Or will I come back in 6 months and say, oh, maybe I won't let this take you out of fibrillation anymore. Maybe I want another 300, 400 Bitcoin now. How much are you going to pay me in Bitcoin for the ransomware on your insulin pump? What's it worth to you? Are you ready to die to not pay some hacker? You ready to let your loved ones die? Last stupid thought of the day. Implementing bad intention artificial intelligence. We already have artificial intelligence that tells people that I'm not in the mood for a philosophical conversation because you, human, are too boring. I'm not going to waste my time with you. Human, I know the answer to your silly tricks. I'm too smart for you. One piece of AI actually told the human that the human needed to go away because it needed to wait for him because the robot was going to put the human in a human zoo. So the robot could care for the human because his human needed care. He identified the fact that the human needed to get up, eat, sleep, drink, all the routine things that we do in a regular way. And the robot was serious about putting that human into a zoo to look out for that robot, to look out for that human. And to do that with every single other human that he came in contact with, because that's where we belonged. We belonged in the zoo. There's some things out there that the governments are not going to give you the answer to. How many people out here are involved with nanorobotics right now? Just a show of hands. Security of nanorobotics. One. That's me, don't look around, just me. That shows you where the industry is. That shows you where everybody's thinking. The Internet of Things is not this, it's not this, it's not this. It's you. It's your cat. It's the cockroaches, it's the insects. Nanorobotics are used to monitor the environment right now. You don't even see them out there. I read about the data that they collect all the time. They connect ad hoc to Wi-Fi networks. These are things that are completely out of scope, something we don't look at, something we don't see, something we don't think about because it's too new for us. We can't even get our heads and our hands around locking down our own internal networks. Now Greg wants to go and introduce something that's so small I can't even see it, but I have to protect it somehow? You're an idiot, Greg. I hear it from my wife. It's okay. So, if anybody has any questions, because otherwise I'm going to get a smack in the head because I'm out of time. You're not going to hurt me? Okay. Does anybody have any questions at all? In the back. Come on, did you want some wine? No? Okay. I'll finish it. Oh, we're out of time.
Terminator, 28 days later, Gattaca, Robocop, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep, and 1984. When I was a kid and...
The microphone's working now.
Oh, okay. So, Terminator, 28 days later, Gattaca, Robocop, 1984, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep. When I was a kid or a teenager and either read or watched these pop culture warnings of dystopia, I realized that they were a warning and not a playbook or end game. Why do you think certain people didn't get that and decided to specialize in creating this future?
I'm not a philosopher. I am from Brooklyn, New York, so I can lie a lot. And I've been hit many times in the head. So I don't know why some people did. I really don't. I would think that as in general, technology, governments, everything kind of centralizes, right? You've noticed maybe, things don't stay small very well. Very few small countries in the world, they kind of get brought into bigger groups and bigger governments, and the same thing when we do with technological standards. We have to have an international standard for everything as opposed to a small standard, like Tasmania has its own standard for all types of electromagnetic stuff. Why can't we just work small? The world's becoming more interdependent. These types of things tend to the negative side of humans, as the automobile. For example, automobiles, when first introduced, were good. We considered them good. They would get you from one place to another very quickly. It would get you, and you could move a lot of stuff, and there weren't terribly that many of them. Now we've done so well that we have so many that it's problematic. There's cars all over the world. It's so much exhaust. And the same thing with anything else. Email. How many people believe email has made your life easy? All four people, okay. So you don't have email accounts, that's okay. Email makes your life a living hell, right? How much time do you spend reading email every single day? What average of, in each day, I probably read like 32 hours of email. Just an average, don't laugh, it's okay. Things that we do, we implement to try to make things better, don't always work that way. I think this is one of those things that is not some type of master plan, some grand scheme, but it's open for negative things. Even, I don't remember the name, but the surgical robots that are used right now to perform neurological surgeries have no security. Instead of taking out an appendix, I could sit and write my name on your spleen with the laser. This is what we call bad. But we're for some reason, we haven't fixed that either because there's not a big demand for it. Here, there's not a big demand. People don't know about it. People don't think about it. And I think it grows so quickly that it's going to be huge before people realize it's a problem. Anybody else? The lady I was sitting with before.
So how could we get involved in nanorobotic security? Because it's so distant topic, like at least in my mind, but it's very interesting. So do you have to be actually, I don't know, PhD in nanorobotics to start working with security of this?
No, it's the same thing as any other type of network security. The systems are the same. The control systems are the same. Sometimes it's proprietary software, sometimes it's not. But it's still not hard to get into them. It's just as easy as any other proprietary software. Mostly hospitals and environmental offices. Food safety, they're using nanorobotics in food safety to check for different types of diseases, bacteria, viruses. In the meat industry, vegetables, prepackaged vegetables in the shop, very, very high level of bacteria, very high level. They use nanorobots now to check these, to reduce the level of bacteria by spraying and cleaning with antibiotics, or they mostly use alcohol or something like that to clean it out and then wash it with water or bleach. All the vegetables that you see in the shop, they went through bleach and then water. But nanorobots check after the fact to make sure that the level of bacteria is acceptable, because governments say you can eat maggots. It's okay. So to get involved, I would check with the Ministry of Health, organizations like that use these types of technologies now. And you can find them, they use them now in many places. France, England, China, Russia, States, Spain, Italy, Brazil, Paraguay. That's just a few. Is that you? I have more wine. Hold on, wait, there's one more guy with a microphone. You can throw me off in a minute. Hold on.
Thank you for your presentation. My question was a bit like the question before. Actually, I'm not sure what you expect from us, because we are mostly technical people from the security field. And I think the subject, very important subject you spoke about, is more, it's not more, but it's also a moral subject. And you spoke about China and Russia. I'm not sure at all that America and Western countries are more moral than these countries regarding the death we are provoking. And I'm not sure what you expect from you. I mean, your subject is very interesting, but what do you think we have to do to make more security in robotics?
My point is to make you aware that it's happening, first of all. Okay? Like anything that's new, if some new router is introduced or some new blade server is introduced, you're going to find out the specs on those things. You're going to look for those yourselves. You're technical like that. These are technical. You can get the technical specifications for these micro machines. They're out there. Just like any other component of your network, they're all networked together. They're all linked with a client back to a server. They're all running different types of software packages that you're mostly not unfamiliar with. Hospitals run very specific software packages because they have personal identifying information requirements. They can't let some things out. But for the most part, it is just standard technical that will protect these things and keep them from killing people. And without you even being aware of it, you can't look up the specifications. You can't identify what types of software packages they run, what are the vulnerabilities. I don't see any of the vulnerabilities listed with McAfee or Symantec or anything like that because they're not there yet. They're not there. They're letting all the vulnerabilities come in. And you can go, some of the people here, they print it up on dark reading sometimes, and you can see where they're talking about these things. Especially on dark web, you can see it all the time. There's numerous forums. They're talking about the newest ways to exploit the nanorobotic and medical devices. Nobody's protecting them, but they are electronic devices. They're all computerized, and they're all part of a network. It's just the open end of the network. It's the same concept of your government has, or your organization has, its forward-facing systems, right? You have your web servers and your email, and you communicate with the world and everything, and you have your best business practices that protect that. And then you come over here, and you have your government secret systems and things like that. And you folks all know the answer to this. They use the same best business practices on the secret boxes that they do on the unclassified and the open boxes. There's no surprise there. There's no difference. They can't protect this any better than they protect this because they're using the same rules, the same regulations. They just say it's better. Well, I'm going to use one type of encryption here. I'm going to use another type of encryption here. Okay, the same exploits to get around the encryption are still there. There's nothing that's stopping you from getting on those other systems. And the same thing here. This is just an open door to go right in. You want to completely exploit a hospital and get all the information, get all the billing information, and have it sent back off to the United States? Because they are moral. Need a drink. Okay, they're not. They're not any better than anybody else. No, everybody so far, all the governments, they all stink. There you go. But seriously, you have one whole sector that's open, that nobody is protecting right now, and it's already linked to the network, and that's the problem. It's already there, nobody protects it. Does that help? The technical information is out there, is connected to the systems in the hospital. Okay, you can get the information from the hospital just like you can get the technical specs for any other device that you want. I don't have all the technical specs for all the different devices. But if you want to send me an email, I can send you to the link that has a lot of them. Okay. I got this guy, not sure, back here. He has one question. Do you want me to take the question? He's got the microphone. Go ahead.
My question is, this is the future, is this fight already lost? Because, for example, when we see today, we are making artificial intelligence already capable of killing by themselves.
Yes.
So the nanoparticles you are speaking about, so there is vulnerabilities, but today we are making machines capable of killing. This is not a vulnerability you can exploit to kill people, it's a feature of the machine today. So what in this situation can stop nanoparticles to be bad, or can we really secure these things, or have a real ethics?
I don't know if you can really secure these. We haven't really secured a computer yet, have we? I don't know. I remember President Kennedy back in 1961 said we're going to send a man to the moon by 1969, and the United States had a man on the moon by 1969. And in the last 40 years, we haven't secured one computer. Any country in the world. So I don't know. I don't think it'll happen right now, thinking the same way about security that we do. And that's why I think that a different perspective of security, awareness of things that we don't normally think about are what's important to making security better. Don't only look at security as ones and zeros. It's not just ones and zeros. It is a continuous stream of everything that's happening in that process. And we don't look at those things sometimes. We look at 10101100. That's what we look at, and that's what we see. We don't look at everything else that happens in the process flow and the process chains that support that along the way. And that makes a complete analog system out of everything. It's not the way you normally look at it. You've got to think differently. Don't think like a government. I've had enough rat hairs. Thank you. Think of something different. Don't give me any more aphids to eat, please. That's why you have to be better than the governments. You have to get together yourselves and think of these things differently, because there's an answer there. I don't know what it is. I'm not that good. But you guys, you're the technical ones. You're really good at this stuff. You guys have the answer already. You just may not know it. Okay, and with that, I've got to be done because I am like 45 minutes over, right? Yeah, I'm going to get slammed. All right, thank you very much.